folks, how you doing? Welcome to Character Strength and Conditioning. Today we are talking about the difference between Olympic lifting and powerlifting. Now this is something that seems to cause a lot of confusion in the strength and fitness world, so I thought I'd just go over it, quickly clarify this for you guys, just in case you didn't know, just in case you're wanting to find out a little bit more about either sport and decide which one might be right for you. So I've done both sports in the past. I did a bit of powerlifting at Bethnal Green Weightlifting Club, and I also did some Olympic lifting there. It was a club that did both, and they're both really, the disciplines feed into one another. So it's quite interesting, but let me just explain a little bit of the difference. So powerlifting is a sport of three lifts. You've got your squat, you got your deadlift, and you have your bench, okay? So basically in a powerlifting competition, you would try to max out on all three of those lifts to get your total for those. Olympic lifting, on the other hand, is just a sport of two lifts. You have your snatch and your clean and jerk. So, I guess both of the sports are technique dependent. I would say Olympic lifting is more of a technique dependent kind of sport. It's also the only one that's at the Olympics in its full capacity. Powerlifting is definitely more a strength dependent sport. There's still a lot of technical elements, but it is more strength dependent. And powerlifting isn't an Olympic sport, but it is in the Paralympics. So you'll get para-powerlifting, but you will not get the full sort of powerlifting activity. You won't try and set a total for three in the, I guess, in the Olympics in Rio or that. So that's just a little distinction there. Now, where people seem to get confused on this is because the names are sort of fucked up. Like, powerlifting actually requires less power output from the human body than Olympic weightlifting. So yeah, this is the thing. So Olympic weightlifting requires more power than powerlifting. So obviously they've been named sort of incorrectly. Realistically, Olympic weightlifting should be called powerlifting, or it should be called Olympic powerlifting. And I'm not really sure what powerlifting should be called. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to invent a name on the fly because it's just going to be some kind of like abomination of a name. But they're not being quite named correctly. So your Olympic lifts require more explosive movements. You're snatching your clean and jerk because essentially your bar path, the weight has to travel an increased range of motion. You have to be a lot more explosive and you have to accelerate the bar more to perform that lift. Powerlifting, on the other hand, is very much in competition about deliberately lowering the range of motion of that bar. So powerlifting squats, for example, will typically be done low bar. They'll be done with just a parallel. You're not going to see many powerlifters that deliberately go ass to grass, for instance. So that's just some of your sort of differences. So you got powerlifting is the three, Olympic lifting is the two lifts, and that's your difference. But a lot of the times these things carry over. So Olympic lifters, although they do their two competitive lifts, their number one assistance exercise is the squat. So a lot of Olympic lifters will be squatting to get their strength up to do their main lifts, which means that they're going to do a lot of similar stuff to those. Olympic lifters are also pulling heavy shit off the ground every day, so they're doing a lot of deadlift style movements. So you'll often find that Olympic weightlifters have very strong squats and very strong deadlifts, sometimes stronger than powerlifters. So it's quite an interesting kind of comparison in that sense. So it's just something to bear in mind, really. What powerlifters definitely have that Olympic lifters don't is they got that strong bench, okay? You will not see any Olympic lifters that can bench anything near what a powerlifter can, okay? The powerlifters train for that. They really specifically do that. So Olympic lifters, sorry, that's what I tend to specialize in. I've got a poverty bench. My chest is never going to be up to par with a powerlifter, and I've just had to make my peace with that. So that's just a little sort of something to think about. What you tend to find is that most people that transition out from bodybuilding, they've done a lot of that kind of stuff, will find themselves drifting more to powerlifting because it's sort of what they've seen or what they've done around. Very few people make the way over to Olympic lifting just because it's a little bit more foreign to them, because the equipment's different. So you find a lot of people start in powerlifting and maybe end up over in Olympic lifting if they see it somewhere else. But what was I going to say? I'm just rambling now. But anyway, that is the difference between your two major lifts. What do you guys think? Are there any differences that I've sort of left out? Anything that I should have chatted about? Leave it in the comment section below if I need to. If you like the video, then like the video. I hope it's cleared up just a little bit of this for you. And what else? Subscribe. Yes, subscribe button is down there somewhere. So please do subscribe if you want some more updates like this. And I'll catch you guys soon.